Hey everyone, I want to talk all about how OCD will more than likely try to latch to the recovery journey in of itself. I've had a lot of people in the last couple of weeks ask me to make this video. I do think it's a very important topic because as we start going through OCD and anxiety recovery, OCD will do everything it can to keep us stuck in the cycle. It will make you doubt everything, hence why the nickname is called the doubting disorder, and everything else in between. Before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below. I like to answer every single comment out there. Feel free to ask me anything you want about the recovery journey. And if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com and we will get back to you in a timely fashion. So when I first came into OCD recovery, I had really bad sensory motor OCD, which I was in the mental hospital for at the time because I didn't know what was going on. Then I had really bad body dysmorphia. Body dysmorphia was lingering underneath. I've had really bad panic disorder and GAD, just physical sensations blasting all the time because of the fear of fear. I had lots of fear of rejection. That's where the body dysmorphia came from, fear of rejection by women. My addictions I had to overcome, et cetera, et cetera. So I had a lot of different moving pieces, just like many of us. As I started to get better, the one thing I realized was OCD was doing everything it could to attack every aspect of the journey. Now, let me go through a couple different things. OCD sufferers and anxiety sufferers are completely obsessed with looking for a line in the sand. Am I in the right relationship? Am I not? Am I reading too much? Am I reading too little? Should I be drinking alcohol? Should I not be drinking alcohol? And a bajillion other lifestyle factors and recovery tools that we see. Am I doing exposures too compulsively? Is this an avoidance behavior? Is it not? So having a prepared mindset and a willingness to understand that OCD is more than likely going to attack every single thing in our journey is key. So when I started reading the books, the first things I started to see was I never had the fear of not remembering something, but I had the fear if I was reading too much. Am I reading too much in a day? Should it be 20 minutes or 30 minutes? And these are common questions I get asked a lot. You know, they come in and say, should I read 20 minutes a day? Should I read 30 minutes a day? I'm not really sure how much I should read. And then what happens is once they start doing their disputing homework, they actually start writing out the exercises on paper. The next question they ask is this: should I dispute 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day? What should I write? Should I write the same thing over and over again? And OCD sufferers are completely obsessed, again, in another fashion, with looking for a direct answer, an absolute blueprint. Now, when you go to med school, is a perfect example. You have a good idea that it's going to be 4 years bachelor or uni, as you call it, 4-year med school and 3-year residency, and then maybe 2 years plus for a fellowship or high-end extended residency for maybe orthopedic surgery or neurosurgeon. You have a pretty good blueprint of exactly what's going to happen. If you finish that, you'll be a neurosurgeon in that example. OCD and anxiety recovery do not work like that at all. There are tools and principles that we apply, but they are malleable. It's like pouring water onto a table. It's not going to fit in a perfectly glass cup. It's going to take different pockets on the table. It's going to morph and shift and move around, and some of the water might fall off the edge. Some of it might pool in a bigger pool with smaller other ones. And everything on the journey to recovery, unconditional self-life, other acceptance, decreasing avoidance, decreasing compulsions, doing exposures when necessary, cultivating a mindset of patience, persistence, and dedication, doing things on your own, taking a proactive approach, changing your lifestyle structure. OCD is going to go for all of that in every single way. It's going to make you doubt every single piece of that. And what you want to do is lean into that doubt, because doubt comes with a feeling, and that feeling is the feeling of confusion. And OCD and anxiety sufferers despise feeling confused. They despise having to, I don't like the way this makes me feel. I need an answer right now. But the more you look for a cookie cutter blueprint, line in the sand approach to OCD and anxiety recovery, the further you actually move from OCD and anxiety recovery. And that is very frustrating because everything in our lives have a timeline. 4 years for high school, common cold 7 to 10 days with antibiotics, broken leg 6 months, rotator cuff surgery 8 to 12 weeks. I mean, a bajillion things. Every season is 4 months. I mean, they're 3 months. Woo! Etc. So I'm going on vacation in 364 days. These deadlines that we have on everything. So it's completely understandable. The reason why I use the med school approach, if you watches this video, I just got the phone with someone who's in med school right now. And we're talking about how we kind of are driven in this perfectionistic belief system. So those are the ways it really comes in with the reading list. Now in exposures, you're absolutely going to doubt whether exposures are becoming compulsive or not, if you need them. When you reach later stages of OCD and anxiety recovery and you are doing a lot better, there's no need to do targeted exposures unless something kind of pops up and it's new and it sticks for a while. Exposures are not the gold standard. It's very difficult for people to hear that, but we know that. It doesn't matter what the research says, and it doesn't matter what other people say. Theory is very different than practicality. There's layover, but a lot of people really have been going with exposures for the remainder, or they've just been going with exposures in general, but they've never actually seen the results they're looking for. And the reason they haven't seen the results that they're looking for is because exposures aren't enough. And for many fears, exposures aren't really that necessary. Sensory motor OCD, existential OCD, fear of dying, self-harm OCD, solipsism OCD. Yeah, targeted exposures with a documentary here and there, but primarily it's wearing the sensation, breaking down the fear of loss of connection, etc. So this is very, very important to cover. It will attack the exposure concept of that. And again, it is important to highlight that exposures are not the gold standard, not even close. The only thing they would be maybe gold standard for is contamination OCD. But if you have a fear of contaminating a loved one like your daughter and her dying, no amount of exposures is going to get underneath that alone. There's going to be some level of unconditional self-acceptance. We know this, we see it in practicality. It's very important to cover that. The third thing is the lifestyle factors, okay? Am I going to the gym too much? Am I going too little? Am I working too much? Am I going to burn out? Am I too tired? Going forward, this is how I really got over a lot of this stuff. I set goals for myself, probably compulsively at many times, and I went for those goals no matter what. I had to accept that I might not reach those goals, but I also had to accept that I didn't need to reach the goals. And then I also had to accept that those goals might take me years, or I'll never achieve them. So what happens is, and the biggest compulsion I had was, because it feels so real to make a change, you're constantly flip-flopping back and forth because of the fear of doing something incorrectly, and or the fear of it becoming compulsive, and or the fear of maybe avoiding. So OCD sufferers either avoid or they compulse. It's the same thing. It's still a compulsion, but they'll do something repetitive or do it over and over again, or they'll avoid it. And then this side over here comes the proving. So I just got off the phone with someone with ROCD, and I see this a lot. A lot of people with ROCD will force intimacy over and over and over again to prove while they're in love. And this is where all that doubt comes in. So the reason why I wanted to make this video is to teach people that OCD will 100% attack the journey. I have yet to meet someone where OCD didn't come in a fashion and try to convince them that they were doing something wrong, to try to convince them that they were not just doing something wrong, but doing something compulsively or avoiding something. So there's a million other pieces in between that. Understanding that and taking a good practical awareness of how this operates, it's something I talk about a lot in my videos. Understanding OCD and the practicality of how it works. Theory is very important, but theory without application is primarily useless. Now, we're going to take in all sorts of stuff in theory as humans, Discovery Channel documentaries on like penguins in Australia. You're not going to use anything practical about that, except for a story at the bar. So, in many scenarios, or a Christmas party or a holiday, whatever you celebrate. But when it comes to OCD and anxiety recovery, many people are very, very educated on how OCD works, but they don't actually apply it, because application and understanding that we need to lean into doubt. We have to lean into confusion. We have to take the risk that maybe we are being compulsive right now. Maybe we are doing something incorrectly on the journey. It's not the end of the world. Maybe I'm stuck a little bit longer. I can kind of redirect myself and try something new. Understanding that is key. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, anything else about the journey, where it becomes compulsive, let me know in a comment down below. And again, if you're interested in our coaching and webinar services, please email us at info@ocdrecovery.com, and we'll get back to you in a timely fashion. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.